think we're streaming on YouTube as well now, but I don't know for sure. And I know I'm in privacy mode. Oh, no worries, Packer. That's totally fine. And I know Tullis talked to you about that. Okay, so let's go back over to here. Is this on YouTube right now? I don't think so. I think I need to like say that I want to go live. Otherwise, it's not going to have the information that I need to give it. Let me go figure out how to do that. Go live. Right now. Streaming software. Is it working? Title, Adam Learns live stream. Okay, let's just pull it from the Twitch dashboard. It's already muted. Am I live on? No, I don't think so. Choose a broadcast type, visibility, public, category education. Oh man. Science and technology, thumbnail, paid promotion, automatic chapters, tags. Sort by newest. Isn't there some way to like turn off reactions? How do I do that? I thought there was. There's a customization tab. Live reactions. Yeah, turn those off. Jeez. Okay, so save. Am I live yet? I think I'm live. If I click this button, does it show something? Yes. Okay, we did it. All right, this is going to be slightly tedious. But I guess we got it. Okay, so now we need to start up the bot. And now if this finds the current live stream, good. Whew. All right. No more drop frames, no more restream. Did we get a Discord notification? Yes. Ooh. All right, I don't have a restream command. I got to go uninstall that at some point. I also want to write some notes on what I just did because I don't think this was super obvious. Do I have something for OBS? Yes, I do. Okay. Restream. Streaming to multiple platforms via OBS directly. There's a plugin that exists for this called, oh man, I can't believe this. Yeah. Am I using the new W4 open source multiplayer toolkit? No, I've not heard of that, Vicky. Are you talking about for Godot? Because I'm just testing out some of the basics so far, although now I'm trying to write notes on something else completely. But that's the kind of thing I guess I can look into. Let me just write this up here. I've got some other things I want to talk about too, and I just want to get these notes down because otherwise I'm never going to get this working. They released today as open source for Godot. Interesting. That's very new. Yeah, less delay for jumping again. That's true. Yeah, please do let me know how that goes too, Blob, and I'll probably forget to ask. So there's a plugin that exists called what? OBS MultiRtmp or something? Yes, this. OBS MultiRtmp. All right, so download it, unquarantine, and approve it if you're on Mac OS, and that links to here. Then install it. You should be able. All right, I guess I'm gonna do a couple things here. The benefits of this over a service like Restream is you have less latency to each streaming service. You don't rely on another service. So if Restream is struggling, then you may drop frames. And what else? There's no automatic branding in your streams. The downside is that it uses more of your own resources. I guess just bandwidth and CPU. Okay, instructions on how to use. So download it, unquarantine it, then click docs, multiple output in OBS. Click the docs menu and choose multiple output. So then think of which stream is your main stream, e.g. Twitch, and then set everything else up through the plugin. The main stream is set up through OBS itself as though you were not multi-streaming. Okay, so then there's something else I got to take a picture of, but for this I can't show this on stream, so give me a sec. Just got to blur something out here. There we go. Okay. So fill out the URL as shown below. Then make sure to scroll that small section so that you can check use authentication. What's the mainstream? Or you mean like what's the biggest streaming platform? Because that's not a what do you think it is? That's a fact. I think it's TikTok. Oh, there's also username and password. Wait a second, what? I didn't even see this section. All right, well, I think I needed to check this anyway. But don't fill out a username or password. Actually, this doesn't make any sense. Maybe only use authentication makes these boxes show up. It does. Ooh, well, I have this checked, and this is what allowed me to stream, I think. Username and password fields that pop up. This step may not be necessary, but I think it was needed in my case. Yeah, I actually don't know. Okay, hey Goose. Okay, then there was one other thing that I needed to write down. Oh yeah, which is to stream to YouTube, then you need to go to YouTube and click go live and fill out all the stuff. Then if streaming, well, there was one other little thing, I guess. Sync start with OBS. I don't know if that worked. If you check the sync start with OBS box, then it should automatically start streaming to that platform when you start streaming through OBS. Hey Chippy, it is. It is where all the cool kids are. And finally, if streaming to YouTube, you'll need to go to, I don't even know what the URL is, but there's a go live thing here. What is this? I don't know how to get to this URL normally, and the URL contains my channel. The need to go to, need to click the go live button at the top of any page, which brings you to a URL like this. I think there was some way to get to this that we figured out. Maybe if I just go to /channel, I don't know. No, it just says, oops, something went wrong. Okay, well, whatever. Doesn't matter. Right now, streaming software, live streaming dashboard. Oh, and then it makes a video? No, God. It's ridiculous. I just want an easy thing I can do that'll take me to what I need to be at, so I guess whatever. then fill out the stream information, and you should be good to go. I'm writing these instructions because I'm gonna need to do this every day until I automate this, and this is something that I'd like to automate at some point, although I don't know. I'm basically rewriting my own restream. Well, not quite. But yeah, so at some point I got to remove any keys. Okay, so this part's done. So automate creating a live stream based on some information that I provide. It should, hey Matt, it should be a tool that lets me fill out all information. Actually, do I even care about that? I kind of do. At once on both Twitch and YouTube. This probably eats your live stream quota as well. Oh man. All right, well, there's some other stuff I want to talk about. I at least wrote the notes for this stuff. Yeah, this part's done. Okay, so for one, I don't know how this happened, and I'm curious if it's just me, but let me go show you something here. How do I repro this? If I type something and then try to go here and then do I don't know how to do this. I'm trying to get it to give me an error sound. Oh, I think I know. I think I can do it through the terminal just by tabbing. No, not like that. Yeah, that. Okay, so did you hear that sound effect? Is that pitched down? You hear that? That's not how I sound. Oh, wait, you can't even hear that, can you? Hang on a second. Let me turn that on. There. Okay, yeah. Now listen to this. Whoops. That's not what I sound like, right? Whoops. Whoops. Like, what happened there? And I think even the pings for like there's I don't know, something just succeeded. I think even that got pitch shifted lower. Lower for sure. Yeah. Also, I hate tearing him in clear. Yeah, what's going on? It's so weird. So let's listen to this. Is this lower too? I mean, that might be, but that's already a pretty low sound. Something with sample rate, perhaps. Yeah, but it seems like it's every Mac OS system notifications are pitched lower. Yeah, pitched down. Someone else is having this problem too? Probably caused by the dock. Weird. I should probably turn off Wi-Fi, by the way. I wonder if this is just going to kill the stream. Okay, thank goodness. It looks like we're still online. Yeah, Ryan was the audio guy. I don't know how this would have happened, and I don't want to test by unplugging a bunch of hardware right now. Also, I don't even think I plugged in anything different. Maybe just after rebooting it'll be fine. But yeah, how weird, right? So strange. All right, well, see if my audio is still pitched down. If so, consider trying to unplug some devices and see if that fixes anything. I don't even know how I would intentionally change the pitch of the audio. Your dock has that bug? So it is a dock problem? So bizarre. So bizarre. Okay, so the big thing I wanted to mention here is this, which is I took yesterday off because I needed to take a day off. And the more I think about it, the more I think I should just be taking every Thursday off of streaming. And I don't think I'm going to take it off of work. I think it's just going to be currently Thursdays. We're supposed to be, 2 streams. What if we were just all in a Discord voice channel? This is, it would be co-working, but it would be like, I'd somehow enforce that we're not all just chatting. All right, I don't even know. I don't know how this would work. But basically, I want to have some time for doing all of this stuff that I need to do. And I don't know how to involve everybody for that, but I don't think it can be on the stream. Do I use a smartwatch? No. What if you played the audio file directly if it did it as well? I don't even know if I must have the audio file still. I just don't know where it is. Or maybe I don't even have it. Let me see. Audio stream. No, I'm not sure where it would even be, but that's a good idea. Audio MIDI setup app and find your device and you can change sampling rate. Audio MIDI setup app. What is that? Is that an actual thing? Are you saying like go find an app in that category? Audio MIDI setup Mac. Is it built in? Oh, is it actually built in? Oh, it is. Oh, interesting. So one of these things is going to have what, a different format, I guess? 48,000, 48,000. I mean, some of these say 16,000. I didn't even know this was a thing. What am I looking for exactly? Oh yeah, this right here. I guess this should just be up here. And now we're done. Whoops. Oh yeah, that fixed it. Wow. Rymu. That's intense. Oh man. I don't think I ever would have figured that out. All right, troubleshooting. System audio notifications are pitched. I can't type downward. Yeah. So this is due to some hardware changing the, what do I call this? I guess output format. Yeah. So launch, what's it called? Audio MIDI setup. It's the name of a built-in app on Mac OS. And then find a device whose output format doesn't match all of the other ones. So in my case, it was that this, I'll just take a picture of the whole thing, I guess. But this was the problem for me. We need this to be over here. Wild, just wild. Okay, and so in this picture, okay, there we go. In my case, it was this one. I needed to change that to 48 kilohertz. Yeah. And that was that. Do you use the official Obsidian hosting or do you dump your notes onto a different service? I use Starlite for publishing and it's backed by Vercel for hosting. So if you go to notes.adamlearns.com, I think I have some of the notes on that stuff here. Yeah, so I'm using Starlite and Vercel. So my headphones, according to the app, are 44.1. Does that mean I hear everything lower pitched? And did that mean I heard the Adam sample even lower than you did? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I'm not that skilled at audio stuff. Anyone advise for configuring a decent keyboard layer in Scheme? I got a Moonlander and it's painful trying to figure it out. Oh, you said in Scheme. We're not talking about the programming language, right? Do you just mean you want a keyboard layout? Because I think there are generally like kind of three schools of thought here. One is make this all up yourself. The other is use an existing layout. And the other is adapt an existing layout. And so it all kind of depends on what you want. There's a layout I tried, I adapted, I guess, myself, called the Maryoku layout. This was pretty interesting because of the qualities of what they try to do here. For one, all of the thumb keys are to change layers. And then when you change layers, the hand that changed layers. So for example, if you want to switch to nav here, it's this thing that's in cyan on this thumb button. If you use your left thumb for that, so now your left fingers turn into modifier keys. So basically all the interesting parts of the nav layer are going to be on the other half of the keyboard. And that's how it works even for these other ones too. So if you switch into the number layer with your right thumb, then your right fingers are going to control the modifier keys. So like that property is something I thought was pretty interesting, but I didn't like the specific layout that they had here. So I ended up changing a lot of this myself. And anyway, I think whatever someone's using makes sense for them. So to use a layout that someone else recommends is kind of the same as just like asking someone for a restaurant recommendation without them knowing what kind of cuisine you like. They might be like, oh yeah, I like this place in town. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess it could be good, but I might not like it. So I think it's very subjective. Yeah. Hey, Hanso, hi. Normally valid. In this case, there's a mismatch bug. Yeah. I'll take a look at Maryoku. I mean, that's at least like a starting point. See if you like the philosophy of it, because I think it's interesting. I don't know if it's good for Moonlander exactly, because you have way more buttons than a small keyboard has. But yeah, I ended up using that, adapting it quite heavily, and coming up with my own. The making it all up yourself, by the way, is not bad. Like you could just come up with something that you like and then add layers as needed. And I mean, based on the video I just did, I think like navigation, numbers, maybe symbols, maybe some like media keys, whatever else you might want. That's a layout I recommended to you and you're using. Yeah. So I could also recommend restaurants to you, is what you're saying. All right. So yeah, this thing about Thursdays, I don't know what we're gonna do, and I just wanted to talk about that quickly. Does anyone have any ideas? So if Thursdays are no longer stream days, does anyone have recommendations, I guess? So should we all hang out on Discord in a silent voice channel? Like, should I run a Pomodoro timer and I don't know, chat every once in a while? Is it just me chatting when there's chatting happening? Only Thai and ice cream restaurants. Gotcha. Ergo, keyboard has a terrible layout for gaming like FPS. You know, one of the ways you could look at this is that you change the FPS to match your keyboard. So it doesn't really matter which key is where. Like for me, where WASD should be is either wars or it's first. Neither of these is WASD. So I mean, I could change a game to just use wars instead of WASD. And then, you know, instead of control to crouch or something, it's Z. I mean, this would be kind of weird because of how the keys are laid out. Make love, not wars. Make love, not WASD. Down for Thursday co-working stream. Yeah, but do you have any, like, would you join if it's on Discord? Would it be weird to have a voice channel that's just silent the whole time? Like, I enter the working section here, and then I don't know. Whatever. We should probably just try this and see what people think. Either way, I need to spend some time just getting stuff done, and I think that should be Thursdays. So I think we're gonna try to book this for this coming Thursday. And so what I'll do is I'll remove this from the calendar. So I'll write like actual homework here. Remove Thursdays from the calendar everywhere. I think like the Twitch about panel, schedule, maybe the FAQ. I don't know where else it might be. And then figure out how it'll look on Discord and make an announcement. Kind of like that idea for a change. Yeah. Yeah, my problem is I just have way too much stuff I need to do and it's not getting done. And so I need a day devoted to doing that stuff. And I think it's kind of bad stream content and I don't want to do co-working streams. I just decided, you know what? It's just not something that I just don't like the idea. I don't know why. I just don't like it. So I'm going to try to be decisive about this stuff and just try things out. All right. Hey, Physitronic. All right. So let's take a look at this, which is what Vicky Land suggested on YouTube. W4 open source multiplayer toolkit. I want to see what this even is. I see cloud, so I'm guessing that they're trying to sell you on running this all on their hardware somehow. But let's read about it. After 2 years of dev, W4 Games is proud to announce the first beta release of W4 Cloud. Are there 2 spaces there? There are. Our open source backend for online, yeah, it is a backend for this, and multiplayer games optimized for the Godot engine. And again, there are 2 spaces there. Interesting. W4 Cloud has been built around the same concepts as that. Man, what? They had some like weird export process for this. Huh. Backend is designed to not get in the way and instead let you focus on developing your game. So this isn't what I was thinking about. Yeah, player authentication and authorization, public and private user lobby system. Yeah. This is not the kind of stuff I was talking about. I don't mind coding that stuff myself. Okay, but it's good to at least have looked into that. So I think we're gonna, oh yeah, and I also need to reschedule 3D extended mentoring session. I'm getting distracted by the spaces, yeah. It is kind of weird for a website to have that. All right, and the code review we'll put off for some other time, I guess. I want to get started on this stuff. Hangout stuff. Okay, yeah. All right, so where do we leave off? I think it was that we needed to commit. Yep, commit and push. So this is a good time to review the code that I have and see what's going on here. What did I even call this? Multiplayer platformer prototype. You know, I was debating, does it make sense to make a platformer? I thought it really doesn't matter. We're testing out some of the ideas behind this and not so much making a true game. So it doesn't matter too much. But since I have the name platformer in the repo, I feel like I should stick to platformer. So code Godot multiplayer platformer prototype. Open up. I guess I just care about the scripts folder. Okay. This should be good, right? Yeah. Make it isometric. I am gonna not even make it fun. It's just gonna be a prototype. Wait a second, what? Oh, you can't do things this way. You gotta do things this way. And now we can check this out. Yeah. So icon import, don't care about any of that. Don't care about probably the project stuff, right? Yeah, this doesn't matter. Game. Sure. None of the scenes matter. It's mostly just the scripts. Okay. I wonder if we can say that this is of type array. I think I looked at this and didn't actually figure it out. Array? Did I not write this for typing? Array of string. Okay, this is just an array of something. I wonder if we can say array here. You can't. No, you can. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's done then. Yeah, I want to add proper types. I want to clean up my code. So num nodes to add. I had forgotten completely about colon equals for inferring types. So for those who don't know this, a lot of languages will, if they're statically typed, they will infer the type. So this is 0, so it'll say that this is something like a number. But in Godot, if you don't put colon equals, it knows that the type of this is a number right now, but it doesn't force this to be a number in the future. So what you could do is, you could actually say this equals 0, like that. And it shouldn't be seen as an error, I think. Unexpected identifier. Okay, well, I need to put it in code. There we go. But yeah, this works. But if I put a colon here, it will force this to always be a number now. And now it says that this is a problem. So yeah, I just totally forgotten about that. And now I remember. So the same thing could have happened over here. We could have, is it even visible? Yeah, we could have put a colon equals and then probably gotten rid of the node. In fact, it detects that this is a problem. Yeah, because we don't need this. And now it knows this is a node. This is a much nicer way of doing things. Yeah. And so the question is like, do I want this? And I think for non-primitives, I think I still want to explicitly write out the type. This is sort of like what we determined in C#. I forgot what it's called. It's var auto or something. But you say something like this, s equals hello. And it's like, oh, I know that this is a string. And so with strings, it's like, okay, everyone can tell that's a string. But what happens when you do something like this, where you say fetch whatever, I don't even know, fetch whatever could be the name of the function. And now, inspecting just this line, it's impossible for you to tell what s is. So if you were to put a type here and you were say, oh, this is a whatever type, now it's impossible not to know what s is because you see it right there. So for something like primitives, I think using colon equals probably good. For something like this, I think it's probably best to specify it. So I think that's what we're going to use as my coding convention. All right, so let's fix all these issues. This is an unused parameter. Also, it's, what even is it? It is a float. Yeah. So even though it's unused, I'll still say this. I'm not going to add in voids like this at the end of everything. I don't think that's necessary. If we did return, what happens? Return 5. Okay, no, you know what I'm going to do instead? We're going to go into Godot and set up the warnings on all of this. Very good idea to enable warnings for missing types. Yeah, so general GD script untyped declaration warn. Okay, so general, where's GD script? I don't know, it doesn't matter. GD script, I'll just type it in. Yeah, untyped. Can I just type untyped? Ah, there we go. Yeah, warn. All right, now what? Does VS Code know about this? So if I say 43 of these months thingies subbed, guess I'm special now. Yeah, you are noob. You're the most special. You're the only person to have a 43-month resub today. Thank you. How did I decide on GD script? That was easy, and this will probably not be compelling for you, but I want to put this out there as a web export, and Godot 4 doesn't support web exports from C#. So I had to pick GD script. Otherwise, I probably would have picked C#. I think the drawback with C# is that you're bundling in whatever mono libraries need to exist. And the drawback for GD script is that you're the one who makes sure your code looks good or you enable all these warnings and everything. Okay, it is detecting that this should have a static return value. All right, you know what? I'm fine with that. I think that's good. We'll do this everywhere. I think it looks clean. This is what you do in every other language anyway. Add node has no return type. Yeah. All right, we're going to go through all of our code and do this. This says it had, well, there's no warning there, I guess. I find that peculiar, though. Why doesn't this have a warning? Because it does return something. It just doesn't say what it returns. I guess it's got to be an element of an array. Oh, no, now it is complaining. Oh, how wonderful. I guess we could say any. What is the any equivalent? There's, oh my God. This wasn't even possible in Godot 3. Godot 4, any type. Right way to type as any. Yeah, I knew this. Godot 3.2 doesn't have it. Object type hint. Object doesn't hold primitives. That's not going to work then. Any string, any used to represent that doesn't return any value. There's no variant type. I don't know how you define a function like this. In Godot 3, it wasn't possible. In Godot 4, maybe it's possible. And I just don't know how to do this. Godot, or like GD script for generic return type. Is this recent? It's from 2022. I don't know what you do in this case. Optional typing. Allow strongly typing. Maybe this... Huh. I still don't think this is possible. Yeah, you just don't specify a type. Takes variant and returns variant. Can I say returns variant? I guess. Seems bizarre. What happens if I try to run my game? It's not really a game, by the way. Connecting to the server failed. I mean, that's to be expected. And then these should all be the warnings that I have on typings. But there shouldn't be one for this. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if that was possible in GDScript 3. I guess not. In Godot 4, you can use the variant type. Yeah. E.g. There we go. Hey, Caleb. What was that quote from? I know the where's the any key is from Simpsons, but what about the first one? All right, well, let's move on. All right, game.gd, nothing wrong in here, right? Yeah, lobby.gd. I'm just fixing up types for right now. I also want to look at the actual code. It should start highlighting this with a bunch of yellow as soon as I make a change, yeah. Okay, so this, it's a primitive. We can use colon equals. I don't know why I went back to Godot when I did that. This doesn't return anything. Now, peer, what does this return? Well, if we would just put a colon here, I guess we can find out. It's a WebSocket multiplayer peer. All right, that makes sense because that's what the new was there for. Error is going to be an int, I think. Yeah. Cool. That looks good. The reason I want to put in this much effort for this is because, well, that's not going to be as easy as what I just did, is because I want this to serve as a foundation for future games that I make. So even though it's prototype level code, I think it's still important to do something like this. We're not returning for any of these, are we? No. And if I'm going to do this, what I should probably do is make a snippet or something that lets me add in a void function. Or I'll probably just end up copy pasting, so it won't matter. All right, now for this. Here we're returning a dictionary. I think we can say dictionary. And you can't parameterize the dictionaries, right? There aren't exactly generics. These don't exist for dictionaries, yeah. Oh, what a shame. Roadrunner and Coyote animations? Was I looking at animations and I just didn't even realize it? Or do you mean like, yeah, never mind. All right, so now this doesn't have a type. Random name should be a string though. Okay, seems fine. ID has no type. Your ID is going to be a number. Player info is going to be a dictionary. All right, it's all working. Oh, all right, so this is a string, I guess. This is an int. Getting all the types in here. I wonder if I could just tell the AI to fix this. Fix using Copilot. I mean, yeah, it knows in this case. Probably knows in all these cases, right? Wow, look at that. Can I fix this one? It should know it's a dictionary. Yep, pretty good. All right, this one too, it should be an int. Yep. I mean, I could just type these out. It's the same amount of time to type as it is to wait for this thing to determine what it is. But yeah, cool. All right. And the final thing that we have is multiplayer functions, which I think is just one function. Yeah, this returns a Boolean and everything else looks good. Oh, I see, Caleb. Got you. Thank you for explaining. So now if I start this up, now it's still not going to connect to the server, but now we don't have any type warnings. All right, great. That was not actually all of what I planned to do. The other thing I planned to do was go look through this code and make sure this is good. So we're going to go open this up and take a look. What do we have? So why don't I need a colon equals here? Oh, I guess we technically do. It just wasn't statically typing it. It's still going to be dynamically typed. All right, so this has switched to game. Did I write something down about this? No, I didn't. So this is whether or not we've switched to the game. I think we can just check to see if we've switched to the game by seeing if it exists, but I'm not sure how we do that exactly. There's get node. Oh, we could probably just check if it's null. So if game equals null, will that work? Let's try that out. Let's start up a server. So I need this command. This is a command that is going to be kind of annoying to have to type out a lot. So maybe we make a shell command for it. Just not really sure if I'll remember to use it. So let's make a new function here. What do we call this? Godot server? Start Godot server? Maybe just Godot server. So run this with a path to the current directory, or I guess $1 headless. Okay, so now we source Z shell, go over to the platformer code, and then do start, or no, Godot server, and then dot, which means we should probably have a test here, local path equals $1, and if there is no path, then set path equal dot, and then say this is path. Okay, so now source that again and just do Godot server, and it should spawn. Yeah, nice, cool. All right, that's cleaner than what I was doing before. Now, I don't know why I have 3 windows open. I guess error. What is this? Okay, I don't know what that is, but let's just restart this. All right, good, that works. Why did I do this? I did this for some reason. Oh yeah, to see if switching to the game scene would only happen once. But how do I test that? I need multiple people to connect. Okay, so then I need to click this button and run like 3 of these instances. And what would we see if something is wrong? I guess switching to the game would show multiple times. Does it even print at all? It should say switching to game scene. I don't see that here. Oh, it's something only the server does? Yes, it's something only the server does. So this should have only printed once. Yeah, nice. But then it says error here, node not found game. I mean, I was intentionally trying to get this to not be found. I guess you can't do this. Because this is equivalent to if get node, I guess /root/game or something like that. But you can't do that. This $sign is going to try to fetch it and then print out an error, because I don't want there to be an error every single time I start this up. I was trying to do this in a nicer way. Well, let's go take a look. Search for $sign here. Shorthand for get node. Yeah, so if I just do get node, I don't like this, but I want to try it anyway. All right, now we restart this, and then we try reconnecting. with only 2 instances. Okay, that looks good. And this has the same problem. Why is it giving me errors for node not found? How do you tell if a node exists? Maybe there's has node? Oh yeah, there's has node. Okay. So if we don't have that node, then we want to add it. Okay, now I'm expecting there to be no error. Yeah. Okay. Was there get node or null? There might have been, this is the actual thing I want to test. And I'll write note that both forms $sign and get node will error if you try getting a node that doesn't exist. So consider has node, or what was the other one? Get node or null. Is this actually a thing? Yeah, it is. It's going all over the place. Get node or null does not log an error if path does not point to a valid node yet. Get node or null. Yeah, no, it's definitely good to know that exists. And I think for the sake of completeness in my notes, I'll put it there. But now we don't need this. Has switched to game, so this can be deleted. Good. All right, what else? I was just starting from the top here. Port is definitely needed. WebSocket protocol is definitely needed. Sure. This is technically true always for every single Godot game. So I really should make a constants file, like server ID would be there. Yeah. I'm trying to do things the right way. A lot of times prototyping means being sloppy and hasty, and I don't want to do that. I want this to be a good prototype. Okay, so let's say this is constants.gd and then delete everything else. Does this extend node array functions? Yeah, it does. Okay, and that's it. The ID of the server in multiplayer games. Is this potentially the optional template for your game jam? Maybe. I haven't fully settled on that yet, whether I even want to do that as the game jam or just a more general one. Way to call out our bad prototypes. I mean, I've done plenty of those kinds of prototypes in the past. I am now wondering, does Godot know about this already? Godot constant for server ID. I don't know how you'd even find this. Yeah, I don't know how you'd find this. Is there a way to see all constants that Godot exposes? For a list of global functions and constants, see global scope. Are there like a million of these? Yep. Okay. Well, let's see just for equals 1. Oh, there's a bunch of these. Okay, let's search for server. There's also a bunch of these. None of those are right though. Let's just select everything, paste it into here, search for equals 1, and then make it a regex and make it find the end of the line. Then find all of these lines. And then expand the selection, copy, paste. Okay, so here's everything now. And let's delete all of these lines. All right, are any of these server things? Clock, corner, error, Euler. Nope. So then, yeah, I don't think there's a constant for this. Well, that's too bad. How far into this project are you? Not very far at all. I'm trying to make the first commit, and here's what it looks like so far. Is this. So when you connect, everybody gets the same pictures on the screen. That's it. That's all we have. There's no game. There's no controlling anything. It's literally just every new person to connect will cause the server to add 3 more sprites. Why does it need to be 1, and why do you explicitly say it? So why does it need to be 1 is because that's what Godot assigns. Every player in a game, let's see if I can show you this. Every player in a game has an ID that was assigned. Yeah, here it is. Get unique ID. This multiplayer.get unique ID is going to return numbers that look like this for regular players, and it's going to return 1 always for the server. So that's why it is that way, at least. And why do I need to explicitly say it? It's just to avoid magic numbers. So I was rewatching my Godot tutorial that I did like 3 years ago, and I think it was pretty good. And I talk about magic numbers in part of it. And I said a couple of reasons why you don't want magic numbers. One is it may not be obvious what it represents. So in that case, I had something like, class equals archer. Is this the name? Is it an actual, like, I don't know, a class ID or something like that? Is it like, what does it mean exactly? And then the other thing is that if you're searching for it, in the case of archer, that's probably unique enough. But let's say you're searching for the number 1 in your code base. I'm pretty sure pretty much every code base out there is going to have the number 1 in it many times. There are very few code bases that won't have that. And so how do you know you're finding the correct instance of the 1 that you want? And that's where constants come in handy. And so in this case, yeah, if we search for 1, we'll probably find it in, all over SVGs and dates and everything. Considering between C# and GDScript, how do you find them? They're both fine. I think it depends on, like, if you're just tinkering around, it's probably easier to just use GDScript. If you're planning on making a fully fledged game, I think then you should probably try out both languages and see which one you like better. C# has a couple little extra gotchas that make it a bit harder to use with Godot. So yeah, I would say if you're just starting out and you're not sure which to choose, just probably start with GDScript. And my advice would be to enable that same warning that I just showed, this thing. Just search for untyped in the project settings and set this to warn. And then try to fix all the warnings that you get. Just for logic operations. Yeah, it's what Godot will return. So if I were assigning multiplayer IDs, I might also do something like this, but I'm not the one assigning them, although I could be. So we're going to put this into constant, so then we delete this, and then server ID, we only use this here, so now we say this is constants, and then in Godot itself, we set this as an auto load. Oh, what am I doing? It's right there. And we add in constants. Done. Okay, hey Darkstorm. So now this shouldn't be an error anymore. Yep, good. Okay, let's keep looking through this. So called when the node enters the scene, don't need that comment. This stuff I don't really think I need a comment anymore. I also don't need this as a comment. I think this is fine. Okay, this signal is emitted on the server and the clients with the newly connected peers ID on each other. This is rewrap messing up. That time it worked. If I do this, does it work? It is working now. Weird. It wasn't working the other day. I wonder why. Pending transaction for your laptop just disappeared and the money hasn't left your account. That is strange. I would probably just contact whoever's responsible in this case. I don't know if it's your payment company or the vendor or whatever it is. Yeah, I'd probably contact them and say, what's up? This signal is emitted on the server and the client on every remaining peer when one disconnects. Yeah. Okay. These 3 signals are only emitted on the clients when, yeah. This is pretty obvious when they're emitted. I think that's fine. So now we say starting the server, otherwise join the game. I think this is going to be pretty obvious what we're doing here. All right, host game. So we just create a server and add our own player. This is not smart. This is not smart. Because we don't have a player on a dedicated server. This is why I'm looking through this code. Yeah, so delete that. So form player info, this is just assign a random name for now. And we don't use these names, so this is kind of stupid. But this was a placeholder for when we do eventually want names. Yeah, I'll just write down that this is a placeholder for now. We just assign random names for now, not that they're used anywhere. It's just a placeholder for when we have real information to share. I generally don't like doing things this way because you're committing code that has no real purpose. But I think I don't want to rewrite this for right now. All right, add player, log string, put this in UI control and hide the whole UI. Yeah, let's go do that. So here we have this label. We're going to make a new node called UI. Oops, that's not how we do this. UI, and then put the label under the UI, and then hide the UI. And then delete this thing. No, wait, sorry, what am I doing? UI/label. And it's status label, yeah. Okay, joining the server. Try connecting, try reconnecting if it fails. Or try remaking the client, I guess, if it fails. I don't even know why this would fail, but whatever, we've got it covered now. So yeah, that looks good. What else? On player connected. When a peer connects, send them my player info. This allows transfer of all desired data for each player, not only the unique ID. So if this is the server, then just add in 3 new nodes. And on player connected is called on the server and the clients. So if it's the clients, then we want to figure out who. Oh, I call register player. Okay, this is a little bit confusing. Where's register player? That's this. Any peer and reliable. Okay, let's go back to the multiplayer stuff that I have and search for any peer. Indicates that clients are allowed to call this remotely. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't think there should be anything that you're allowed to call as a peer. Because let's say, for example, that you could type in your name and I type in Adam and then someone else types in, some obscenity. The server should deny this. But if you're able to call register player on any other peer, you could just bypass that and say, hey, yeah, my name is this thing. And that on its own is already something that I don't like about this. And so the way I think we would want to do this is on the server, we just call register player on all of the other clients. So I think that's what we're going to do, but we're going to do this after we've done our first commit. So commit, push, and then do more cleanup. So make it so that there is no any peer call. Have the server call register player on all clients. Yeah. Okay, we don't have any signals here, so just erase the player by their ID. Yeah, this I'm going to need to switch around a bit. Registering player %s as ID. So this should be printing out names, if I'm not mistaken. Where are what's going on? Invalid set index text. Log string 52. Is it not UI/status label? No, it's not. This should probably just be called status label. Oh, this is in the game. What am I doing? What am I doing? I've made a mistake. This is just what is this? Just delete this whole thing. Who cares? Yeah, delete, goodbye, and instead put this over here. UI. And then put this over here, and now we're good. All right, so now hit the play button. Okay, so now invalid set index visible. Switch to game scene. Switch to game scene. What does this do? Status label. This is in the UI. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, the whole UI should be set to invisible. I hadn't fully finished that to-do item from before. All right, now we're good. There we go. So we get that we're registering players. I like this. All right, we've got a good foundation. I'm gonna finish looking through the script. We're gonna take a break after that. When a peer connects, send them my player info. I don't like this idea. On player connected. How does this work exactly? Newly connected peer's ID on each other peer. And on the new peer multiple times. Register my own player info. Register my player info with the newly connecting. Okay, I think I understand this. Except for this one part. When you connect, you call this function yourself? Is that true? So if I go to run one instance, I hit play here, it says connected to the server with ID and then player one connected. Yeah, that's this. Interesting. So then the comment I wrote isn't actually correct. Signal is emitted on the server and the clients with a newly connected peer's ID on each other peer. It's just on each peer. Oh, wait, no. And on the new peer multiple times, once with each other peers. No, yeah, this is wrong. It's called even for the connecting player. Connects this signal to the specified callable. I don't want that. I want peer connected. Emitted when this multiplayer API's peer connects with a new peer. ID is the peer ID of the new peer. Clients get notified when other clients connect to the game server. Client also receives a signal for the server. Oh, I get it. I was mistaken. This is saying player one connected. Player one is the server. Oh, this is so important to have just in my head. I want to make sure this comment is clear. The signal is emitted with the newly connected peer's ID on each other peer and on the new peer multiple times. Yeah, so for example, if the server is running and a single client connects, the server will get, the server will have this be hit with the connecting client's ID, and the connecting client will have this be hit with the server's ID 1. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I want to change this function around, but I want to do that after we've committed. Then player disconnected. Same basic deal here. This should be changed around. Unconnected, okay. Just say you've connected. Switch to the game scene. Sounds good. This is another thing that we don't technically have to do, right? We could have the server tell you which scene we're in. Not going to worry about that yet, though. We can't free the current scene since that would cause us to lose a reference to multiplayer, which also means that we can't call get tree change scene to packed since that frees the current scene. Sure. Instead, we just hide the only elements. We hide the UI elements in the current scene. Yeah. That's fine. This reminds me that there were other comments I hadn't done this with. Okay, this allows transfer of all desired data for each player. The only way this allows transfer of all desired data is by calling register player. Player with a newly connecting player, yeah. I'm gonna delete these comments. All right. We're in good shape. And what else is here? On connected fail and on disconnected. Yeah, so on disconnect, we don't try to do anything. Should we try reconnecting? I guess just for the sake of testing, sure, let's try it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna go restart the server. Ooh, what's all this stuff? Condition outbound buffer size. Returning out of memory. Well, that doesn't sound good. How's progress so far? It's been good, but it's been learning level progress. It's not been like, let's make a game level progress. Let me hit play over here. Okay, so this is the client. We have 40 errors somehow. Buffer payload full dropping data. Yeah, this does not inspire confidence. But now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna close the server and I don't even know what this is doing now. Oh, we gotta re-show the UI, I guess. And we also need to change scenes again. Oh, darn it. How do I do that? So I guess we'd set the UI to visible. And then we would remove the game scene, or else we're gonna end up with multiple game scenes. Yeah, game.queueFree. Or I guess if has node game, then queueFree. Yeah. Do we also need to remove it? I don't know. But let's test that out. And I definitely want to take a break. All right, so we hit play over here. So we got our server connected. We got our 40 debugger errors. Then we close this. And now it says disconnected from the server, setting period to null. Now we wait 5 seconds and it should try joining and it'll fail. Yep, connecting to the server failed. Now we start the server, wait 5 seconds. Now it should connect and switch back to the game. Perfect. Now the question is, do we have 2 game instances? And if we go to remote, we see 1 game instance. Neat. How do you have them on full screen while keeping dock? Mine usually stops next to dock bar. I am not sure what you mean, but I have the dock set to auto hide. So I just go to the bottom. Like this is not full screen right now. You can see if I do this, it's full screen. And now I guess there still is the dock even in full screen. Yeah, I don't know. How do I unfull screen this? Actually don't know how to do that. Huh. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. F11? I don't think that's doing anything. How is your app all the way to the bottom and not being full screen? You should double click on the bar. Yeah, double clicking on the bar doesn't do anything in this case though. I think it's just setting the dock to hide. If you right click and you go to dock settings, I think it's just in here. And then just set it to, where is it? Yeah, I think I can't show you because it's stuck in full screen. How do I stop this? All right, whatever. I'm just gonna quit Godot probably. Yeah, fine. All right, anyway, it's this option right there. Automatically show and hide the dock. Control Command F. Yeah, that's probably what I wanted. Okay, so now it thinks this is running, yeah. All right, I think we're good. I think I've looked through everything now, and we could check this in. So make initial commit. This isn't a game yet. Every time you connect, huh, that's strange. Where's it usually tells me how many characters I have in here. Is it like properly wrapping now? This is a test. This is a test. Oh, nice. Quick fix. Wow, that's new. I'm pretty sure that's new. And then what happens if I were to delete lines from here? Okay, it doesn't know to reformat it. Does it know how to do this? No, it doesn't. Okay, so just write the entire commit message as 1 line and then just hard wrap it at the end. Nice, gotta remember that. This isn't in game yet. Every time you connect, 3 sprites are emitted into the game world, and they're synchronized between players. That's really it for now. Yeah, so now we do this and say hard wrap line. Nice. Now, is this 72 characters, or is it wrapping at a higher? Yep, 72. Well, well, well. Okay, so now I'll push this, and now all of you should have access to this repo. We go to, where is it? This one. This code should now be online. Yeah. All right, definitely time for a break. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey, everybody. Black Apple. So you asked, what is this about? Close the game, first of all. Let's get this out of here. So I am working on some multiplayer stuff, and we're just prototyping. So this is not meant to be a real game, but eventually I'd like to be able to make games that involve multiplayer, and hopefully I'm not super confused about what's going on or how to do it. And I think Godot has been pretty good for learning this. When I look back, actually, I kind of think we spent a decent amount of time on this stuff, and I feel like, I don't know, I'm building up all the resources for this. I eventually want to do some videos on this too. Anyway, so that's all we're going to be doing today. Is just working through some of these tasks that are over here. And this is now done. So the connection logic is done. So the next thing up would be to allow each client to control their own player. By the way, one last thing is that that game we just showed, Jump Royale, is only playable via Twitch. So sorry about that. Commit input validation improvements. Oh, that was a February thing. I wonder if I didn't look at all of this. Voice dictation. Okay, I got caught up with that. But yeah, neat. I'm so glad they did this. Toggle input validation setting. Is that already enabled for me? Yes. Nice. This is exactly what I want. Oh, so good. So good. All right, let's copy a link to this and probably put this in the VS Code notes. Aliases, VS Code. All right, the whole comparison to Sublime thing, I gotta get rid of this. In fact, I should probably just delete this entirely. Emoji support is better. Like, who cares about this stuff? Yeah, I don't think anybody cares about this. Just delete this. All right, Copilot, surrounding selections, random tips. I care. Well, now it's gone. You can still see it if you go to notes@adamlaners.com. Twitch is making Prime sub button really hard to find. Yeah, there are a lot of people who are commenting on this, I guess. So thank you for seeking it out, finding it, clicking it, and announcing it. Don't delete its history. Well, now it's gone. All right, so I think somewhere I wrote about committing. I only wrote this. Yeah. All right, random tips. You can set, what's it called? Get.input validation. Get input validation to make sure your subject/content lines don't go beyond a particular length. Add it to discarded notes. It's technically still in my old OneNote notebook. So if I ever wanted to resurrect that, I could. But really, like, who would look at a Visual Studio Code note in this day and age, at this time of the year? And where is this? I guess this is why I just added the alias, because this is not showing up. Why, when I search for Visual Studio Code and there's an exact match, does it show at the bottom? Anyway, yeah, I don't think people would expect this to be here. And I don't know who cares about this. Having it be in a different note might be decent, you know, a sub note that says compared to Sublime, but I just don't think people care. Okay, so next up, I know we said it was getting players and whatever, but it was actually this. Make sure there's no any peer call. This is part of the learning that I wanted to do here. Let's close out of everything and go back to lobby. And there is one any peer call. Now, again, for those people who don't know what is any peer, what does this mean? It is this. There are two different modes, either authority, which is the default, and that means only the server can call it, or any peer, and it means any client can call this. So if you think about it, in a lot of games, if it's a peer-to-peer game, then fine. I guess you could delegate one person to be the authority or something, but otherwise it's not like a traditional trusted authority style game where you can rely on the server not being tampered with. So in typical like client server games, you trust the server and you validate everything the clients do. And for some things, you probably don't really care about validating it. It's like, let's say the player wants to set their, hat color or something. It's like, okay, who cares? As long as it's a valid color, anyone can render that. But for a lot of other things, you definitely want to validate, like how fast are they moving? How many players have they shot in the game or something like that? Those are things you wouldn't just trust a client to do. So in this case, you might think, well, wait, they're just setting their name, right? And I mean, that's true for now. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But even that is something you would want to validate, because what if there's obscenity in there or something? So yeah, I don't like the idea of any peer in pretty much any game you're making where you don't trust all of the players. And there are games where you trust all the players, or at least you should trust all the players, like, a Stardew Valley style game where you're playing with your friends, and like, why should they have any reason to cheat? I know that's not entirely true, but At least in those games, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever, fine. Put NEP here, don't do anything different. So what I want to do is I want to be able to connect with two different players, and I want to make sure that we get the names replicated without them going through the players themselves. So I really should have given this a snappy name. Localized entirely within the stream. Man, there have been some new Steamed Hams videos even to this day, and they're pretty creative. All right, so if I connect with two clients, each client will get the other client's names, right? Connecting to the server failed. Oh yeah, I didn't start the server. There we go. Now it should say some stuff here after 5 seconds. There it goes. Yeah, so what do we see here? We see player 8869 connected, and then player 1, that's the server. We should see that twice, yep. And then we see player 9998 connected. So you can see the IDs here are swapped, and here are swapped. So that's just each player notifying the other player. So I want the server to notify the players. So this output should pretty much still be the same. I guess minus all the reconnect logic. Yeah, something like this. So this is the old output. Now we're going to go change this so this is not any peer. This is authority. So now this wouldn't work. In fact, let's try this. What happens when you do this? So all I've done is I've removed the any peer call, but we're still going to try to call this. It should be an error, I guess. Debugger 2. Error. Register player is not allowed on node from this. Mode is 2, authority is 1. Okay, I mean that error message isn't great, but yeah. Have the output for each instance in a different console. I'm not sure. There is session 1 and session 2 here, which maybe is doing that. I don't know. Oh, those are just for the debugger section, and I don't know if there's an output here. No, I don't think so. Just errors. Yeah, I think there was a plugin or something somebody wrote for that, because I think people were talking about that last time. But yeah, it is a little bit tedious to see this like this, right? You'd expect a window split in the middle or something, and to be able to see like this is just session 1 and this is just session 2. Okay, so we do get an error about this. I want the server to call this for everybody. And there's a way of doing this, and I just don't remember how. Calling RPCs. Use RPC to invoke on every peer. Well, that was easy. Okay, so we just put this up here, and we just call RPC. Now, form player info is going to be wrong. It's going to be... Well, actually, no, it's technically not going to be wrong, I guess. Yeah, that should be it. Register this player register the newly connecting player with everyone already connected. I think this will work. Let's go try it. Okay, so now we refresh this. And here's our output now. So we have the old output. Let's just put them next to each other. We have the old output and we have the new output. So we have the same general stuff. Joining the server shows twice in both. Yep. Connected to the server shows twice in both. Yep. Player 1 connected should show twice in both. Yep. I mean, there happens to be another player starts with 1. That's okay. And then the players should register with each other. Is this player connected, and that's over here, and this player connected, and that's over here. Yeah, I think this worked. Okay, yeah, pretty good. So here we could do any sort of logic to test whether this name is good and only send it if it's good. If it's not good, I wonder how we would disconnect that player here. Yeah, I wonder how you force disconnect a player. I guess you could always send them a message that then the client interprets as a disconnect. Yeah, I don't really have a reason to do that. I was just curious. It's a lot of work. I don't think it's a lot of work. Yeah. Is that the only thing I wanted to change? I think it might have been. Yeah, we were just trying to get rid of any peer calls, and I think I got rid of them. Yeah, there was only one. Okay, so get rid of the any peer call. Giuseppe, thanks for subbing. Well, thanks for resubbing. Yeah, welcome back. Say it's very little boilerplate to get multiplayer going. Yeah, I don't think this is too bad. Hey, Liquidor. So I wanted there to only be like authoritative calls. So the same information is still being transferred, but now it's going through the server. Okay. Yeah, so we haven't done any game stuff yet. Again, if for people who are just joining in, let's say, the only, quote unquote game thing is that I'm just randomly putting in 3 sprites for each player who connects, and the sprites are being synchronized. So if the server were to start moving these sprites, they would move on all the different screens. In fact, we could probably test that. Set physics process only if it's server. Yeah. I already did this. So we could go through each sprite and we could move them, but I'm not going to do that for right now. All right, so let's see. Allow each. Wait. Get push. Yeah, good. Okay. So allow each client to control their own player, but have the server be the authority. All right, so let's figure out how this is going to work. Hey, APX. Also Liquidor. Let's disconnect all these things. So each player should be able to control their own player. Well, for that, first we need a player. And let's go make a player class, I suppose. Or a player scene. So new scene. We're going to add... Actually, first, let me see something here. How do we make a new window? That's how. Yeah. Okay, I want to go look at my other game that we have here, Jump Royale. Let's use a C#. Fine. Okay, I guess we close out of this. And we open up Godot Mono instead. Okay, so Jumper is a what? Character body 2D. And what does character body 2D give it? Inherits from physics body 2D. Not affected by physics at all. They affect other physics bodies in their path. They're mainly used to provide high-level API to move objects with wall and slope detection. Oops. In addition to general collision detection provided by physics body 2D, move and collide. Makes it useful for highly configurable physics bodies that must move in specific ways and collide with the world. Okay, so slopes, interesting. We should definitely figure out how we're going to add slopes to this. I mean, we could do the typical like 45-degree thing, but like, what if I just drew a bunch of random paths? Anyway, character body 2D combined with a collision shape in there and a sprite. Yeah, so let's go back. Let's just close out of this. I don't think I need this anymore. Okay, good. So we'll change the type of this to a character body 2D. We'll call this player. We'll add in a sprite for it. The sprites are going to be, you guessed it, just this. Transform, reset the position. Okay, so this is their sprite. And then we're going to add in a, what is it, collider, collision shape? Yeah. And the collision shape will just be a square. And we just drag it so that it matches this. Right, that's pretty good, yeah. Okay. All right, so that's our player. I guess let's fix that too. That's our player. We can add in a script and make it so you can control them. And we want to synchronize these. I guess this is where spawnable would have come in. And this was synchronizing the position. So I guess let's do the same thing. Let's add in a That's not what I meant to do. Let's add in a synchronizer and add property to sync the player's transform position. Cool. We don't have rotation or anything yet, so I think this is probably fine. All right, so save this as player. Okay, now instead of instantiating spawnables, we're going to instantiate players. So this multiplayer spawner, I guess we can put stuff in there, but the scene that it's going to replicate is going to be player scenes. Yeah, and so now this spawnable scene just shouldn't exist anymore. I don't think anything made this special anyway, so I think deleting this is fine. So delete you. Okay, so now you're gone. Don't save. All right, so now when you join, we need to give you a player object. We need to know that you're the one who controls it. So this is where things get a little bit harder, and then I've got to combine everything that we learned here. So let's start with num nodes to add. This is not going to be the case exactly. We've got to keep track of which player you control. And so where do we make a spawnable? We don't do it here. We do it in game. Yeah. So we got to track the players somewhere. We currently have a dictionary that just has their name in it. We're going to need to keep track of their player instance, I suppose. And those are going to exist in this scene, but be tracked elsewhere. All right. Yeah. Game.addPlayer, and I guess get their ID. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to print out is what is their ID. So in player, give them a label, and this is going to be their like ID label, and we're just going to put this up here, and it's going to say something like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Yeah. So now how do we do this? Horizontal line to the center. So as it shrinks, it grows like that. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it won't be super visible, but whatever. It's just a way to identify you. So add player ID, that's going to give us a player, var player instance equals this. Then when we form their player info, we're going to form it using the player instance. This is all going to be broken. All right, so let's change this to add player. And it takes in an ID. And we return a player instance. Okay, what does it think the code should be? Preload player, set the player's ID. I mean, I guess add it to players. We don't really do that. We want to add it to spawnables. Yeah. And then return the player. Anything else I want to do here? I guess set its name. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. This. Player name equals player number and then their ID. Anything else? I guess, yeah, printing out that we added them. Adding player %s to the scene at %s. Okay. And then give them a random position. All right, so now this doesn't exist anymore. This isn't needed. This can just be passed. All right, so we have add player. We form player info here that takes in a player instance. I don't actually use this, so we need to go use that. Player instance. Player instance. Player instance. Okay. Now, is there anywhere else this gets called? Yeah, all right, we got a problem here. So when we get your player instance replicated, we need to know that it came from you, or that it is yours, I guess. What is this keyword? Yeah, check out what Coyote Kid linked in. That's the alt key plus arrow keys, I believe. What are you talking about? Did I miss a question in chat? All right, yeah. So problem, got to get you your player. I did this in another project that I was working on. I guess this one. Here, I 10. I think I misunderstood the question. Okay, got you. I was just making sure it wasn't me who's confused you. All right, so what do we have here? This is a different project entirely. I'm just looking at it to see what goes on. Interesting. Physics process, authoritative or non-authoritative. I probably did this. The authoritative one is to lerp, and the non-authoritative one was to actually control everything. And this is whether get authority returns the peer ID of the multiplayer authority for this node. Each node can have an authority. Interesting. What is the problem again? So we have a client server architecture here, and the server adds a player. The client needs to know their player. So it's not really a problem, or I mean, it's like an issue to work out, but it's not like I'm stuck necessarily. I'm just looking at how I did this in another project to see what I want to do here. We have a few things for this. There's an authority that gets set, and I want to see where that is. I guess I'll do it this way. Authority. All right, there's set multiplayer authority. Name.toInt. Interesting. That's in player. So the synchronizer can know who controls this. Oh, so who's going to be replicating all this information? I see. I see. But the problem here is that you can't rely on players doing this themselves without cheating. How performant is the scripting language? Heard some bad things, especially networking. I assume most of it's being handled by native code. I'm not sure. I haven't really made like a fully fledged game in Godot. I have just been kind of tinkering around. And the games that I would say are close to fully fledged that I've made, performance hasn't been a problem. All right, yeah. So here's an idea. We set which authority is the source for replicating the position and everything. But then if it's the player, we need to validate this on the server. So that's going to need to happen. Let's not worry about the validation yet. Let's just have this work. And then let's figure out how to validate your movement. I want to make like a hacked client, quote unquote. Add some kind of input validation on the server. Not totally sure how this will work. If a client is the authority for replication, then it's possible that they change their speed locally, and that just gets replicated without issue. So I know there are some other games that try to do something like a teleportation detection. And the way this would work is they'd track whatever your last position is, and then if the new position or current position minus the last position is greater than some threshold, then you're cheating. And that's pretty much what teleporting is. But then there are lots of ways you kind of try to get around this. You could just set your new position you're teleporting to be within that threshold. So you're still able to move faster than normal. And then what happens if there's an ability in the game, like an explosion that knocks you really far away, and it happens to knock you beyond the threshold, and then you get booted for cheating when you're really not cheating. And so running the entirety of the physics simulation on the server is a way to avoid that. And then you're just sending inputs to the server, but you still want to predict it on the client. So yeah, I need to figure out how I want to do all this stuff. Does name.toInt assign a new number for the name, or turns into a hex number? It turns it into a hex number, or probably just a decimal number actually. And this was because in this particular game, the names were all numbers. What's the definition of authority here? The thing that is the source of the replication events. So if it's the server, if it's a player, then like pressing right will move you right. If it's the server, then a player pressing right will tell the server to move you right. Then the server tells you that you moved. Now that would introduce a latency that would be unacceptable. So typically you'd have some client-side prediction that the move is going to work because it's your player and you're also kind of simulating the world. So yeah. Why not check player velocity and acceleration? I mean, you still run into the same issue, right? Which is that there's some acceptable velocity and then there's some velocity that's considered cheating. And the way to tell the difference between them could be difficult. And a lot of other games have struggled with this sort of thing. And even games like Minecraft or World of Warcraft, there are lots of games that have had hacks where people have either figured out how to fly or they figured out how to teleport. And it's sometimes because they're exploiting a bug, but sometimes it's just that the detection for this stuff is not very sophisticated. Again, remember though that none of this really matters depending on the kind of game you're making. If you're making a play with your friends kind of game and people teleport around, then fine, they're affecting their friends. If you're making a game that's like an MMO and people are teleporting around, fine, now they're affecting like a worldwide economy maybe, and that could be a much bigger deal. Anyway, the idea was, yeah, we set which authority is the source. If it's a player, we need to validate this on the server. Alternatively, we always have the server be the authority and just send inputs to the server. But the clients predict what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm not sure which one I want to do, and I kind of want to test them both out. The client is the authority for replication. It's possible they change their speed locally. The server is the authority. Then we need some client-side prediction. Why can't the user's instance send the input to the server, then the server just acts as a validator? So that's possible. But like I said, then you have the latency of you press a key. There's actually a network request going out. The server validates, network response coming back, and then you finally update. So you need some sort of client-side prediction in that case. And like I said, it shouldn't be too bad. Like the client should know how to handle what that movement command would have done. Yeah, using a neural network for cheating is fine, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think this is like a cut and dry, very simple problem of like just look at the velocity or something. I think there are a lot of inputs that go into it and then a lot of things you need to consider for a game that can change this quite a lot. So if you were talking about just like a form somewhere that takes in whatever, like a, bank account ID number 1 and bank account ID number 2, it's like, you know how bank accounts work. They're not really going to change too much probably. In a game, like I said, you could have something where there's some like, force push mechanic, and this is so similar to teleportation that gets detected by the anti-cheat system. Yeah. So, all right. Let's try the first way. So we're just going to have the client be the authority for their own player. And so what do we do here? We have something that's going to tell you which player is what. Send player information. Does the server call RPC and send it to everybody? Anyone can call this. Oh, and then since the player already exists though. Test world. So then on connect, they must add a new one, right? Yeah. Here it is. So add child current player. This is a test world, and it adds one for each player, and then each player knows which authority is there. So they're not replicating the nodes. They're not new nodes. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. So we're going to get something that's replicated by virtue of us having a multiplayer spawner in the game. And this must have a way of us checking what spawned. I think there must be a signal on that. I think that's what we have to do. This is done. So when adding players, each one needs its authority set correctly. Needs code like this. And so I probably need to listen for a signal from the spawner. All right, let's go back to the actual game we're working on here. So this calls register player on every peer. And so registering my own player info shouldn't matter here, right? It's just the server gets to someone connected and it tells everybody that this thing connected. I don't know why it's putting spaces here. I don't like that. Let's try this right away. I mean, there's no way to control the players, but that doesn't really matter. Let's see if this is at least working. It should be replicating these players. Bright pink does not mean that it's working. Okay, let's go find out why that failed. I can't find player in this case. I wonder why that is. I guess because when you instance a, why would that be the case? Oh, because there's no player script, right? Of course. Okay, so we need to go add a player script, I guess. Yeah, fine. I guess it makes sense. Scripts player.gd, yeah, there. No, that's not a loading screen. That's a hey Graham. Okay, so now that we have that, I think we could. Do I even have the server running? I don't think so. All right, well, let's do Godot server here. Source Z shell Godot server. Wonder what's wrong there. There are two parse errors. How did I not see these? This doesn't know about the parse errors. Maybe if I type a space, it'll know. That's strange. No, it still doesn't seem to know. I'm guessing it thinks this is the parse error. I just don't know. Oh, no, it says in pink. Okay, I see. Script error. Could not find type player in the current scope. All right, this doesn't work the same way it works in C#, I guess. And I'm not sure what we're exactly instantiating here. But like if I just got rid of this and I just said variant, this is not a good idea, but it would fix what we have there originally. Let me go back and look at the original code that I had here because I was doing something with spawnable. Game.gd. Yeah, it is. Oh, I just said it was a node. Okay. I guess this is technically a node then, huh? All right, I need to look at even more code. Oh, man. Godot, what RPG shooter, what do I call this? Godot shooter RPG. Okay, so somewhere here, maybe player controller, I would have done the pattern that I'm thinking of for this, which is that I make a new node, so preload level up particles, and this is a, okay, that's not exactly what I want. Also, this is a packed scene in this case. I wonder if that's what this was in Godot 3, if I'm just making stuff up. Ability instance. Character select. Huh, I wonder where we made firing a projectile. Fired as a signal. What catches this? Player connecting gameplay, I see. All right, fire projectile. I see. We gave it a different script at runtime. And so the thing that we're making is just a scene, and we initialize it with certain parameters. All right, so coming back to this then. So we're just making a node, we're adding it. I guess it's going to have a player script. And we return that node. Yeah, I guess that's about all we can do. Okay, so now let's try running that. Okay, now this is a problem at lobby because I have player somewhere that I shouldn't have had player. But where? Here. Okay, this is a node. Good. All right, now we launch the server. So coming back to this, close out of all these things I have open, and go hit play with 2 instances. Yeah, except for I just saved this again, so I probably need to restart the server. All right, we hit play. So what I expected to happen and what did not happen here is that we did not get our player instances. Why not? Yeah, the whole script is broken there. I don't care about that though. Non-existent function add player in node 2D game.gd. Because this is a node and I wanted it to, oh, it's underscore, but that means it's not even private anymore. I still am pretty sure this isn't going to work. Well, let's see. Okay, now we got some actual errors here, right? Register player, method expects 1 argument, got called a 2. And what about on the server? Non-existent function instance in base packed scene. And where's that coming from? Game 13. Huh. I don't know how that would be a problem there. Does a compiler find and take all the preload calls and load the resources elsewhere when running the application? Surely you don't want for the resource to load live. Preload is at build time. So yeah, this is going to get turned into something at build time. Also, Go is not actually the language that's in use here. It's GD script. Go is a totally different language. Yeah, yellow screen next. Be some progress. Yeah, this is what's frustrating about this, right? There's a way of instantiating a scene and we get back a type, I guess, node. I'm not even positive here, and it looks like my language server just broke. Or maybe it's trying to connect to a different Godot instance's language server, and I should close this down. Close window, stop these things from running. Does that somehow fix this? No. Let's reload this whole thing. Can it detect this now? No definition found. Oh, there we go. Doesn't know what instance does. Preloading something returns a resource, and I... Oh, wait a second. It was supposed to be instantiate that whole time? I get by trusting stupid AI. Everything looks familiar. Yeah, I think it was meant to look sort of like Python, and then in more recent years, they've been trying to steer away from that association between Python and GDScript. Don't think there could be easy support for Go since it doesn't have classes, right? I don't think you'd necessarily need for there to be classes if you wanted to make a Go API, but I don't think that's going to be a direction that they go. I don't think there's a reason for them to support that. Okay, so maybe I forgot to just restart the server, and maybe that was the real issue here. I don't recall. Oh no, this is different. Invalid set index ID with value type int. So character body does not have that ID. So we can't do this. Character body 2D. It's not even considered a type player because I guess we don't have a special script for that. And attaching a script added one specifically for us like this. So if I wanted to, I could probably say, Let's try something out here. Set or init ID var ID int equals, I don't know, -1, and then just self.id equals ID. Okay, do that, do that. Shadowing, oh, you can't do that, I guess. New ID or ID to set. All right, this should be void, this should be float, this is, rest of this is probably fine. This should be a, what is this? Float. And then what is this? No static type, get setting, returns a variant. I guess in this case, gravity is probably going to be a float because it's 9.8. Yeah, it looks good. Great. All right, so now what we're going to do, this is all nonsense. Now we're going to do an init with the ID. And now try telling me that that doesn't exist. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So we got our 2 players. They fell off the screen immediately. That was unintended, but at least we're making progress. So now we need to stop them from falling off the screen. Let's go add in, I don't know, a sprite. And this sprite is going to form the world. And here's what we do. Talk about lazy. Done. This is actually not a sprite. It needs to be a rigid body, actually a static body 2D. Yeah, and this is what's going to be the world. And then this will be the sprite for the world. And then we need a collision shape, which is going to be a rectangle. Where is a collision shape? Here. Drag you down to here. All right, whatever, good enough. Now let's hit play. Cool. Now, the reason I was glitching out is because the server doesn't know that these exist. And the server is the authority here, I believe. So we need to restart this so the server knows that there's a world. Nice. Okay, we're slowly making progress here. Now, the next thing to do is the player has an ID label, which is what should be set over here. ID label equals that. Only identifier, attribute access, and subscription access can be used as assignment target. There. All right, let's take a look at that. That's not good. Why would that be happening? Because we're not replicating the ID. Oh, man. Oh, what a shame. Okay, I guess we replicate it then. So multiplayer synchronizer, we add in a property player.id. It's not there. How do we do this then? It doesn't know that its type is of type player. Or maybe we need to make this public somehow. Does it know about init, I wonder? Would it even matter if it knew about init? I don't know how you expose these. Is that a new ring? Yes, it is a new ring. The other one I'd been wearing for almost 2 years and it started tearing. So I switched. I'm not sure how you expose this to the multiplayer synchronizer. I think I had done something like this with the other code that we had though. And I don't know how we did that. I don't know why it keeps alt tabbing on its own. What did we do? Sync pause. Yeah, here. This somehow just let us select it. Oh, because this extended character body 2D? What does the other one say? No, it extends as well. What? What's going wrong here then? I should be able to synchronize its ID, and I can't. Huh. Yeah, weird. Oh, maybe we just add in the path ourselves? ID? Add from path? Oh, okay. All right, that probably does it. So now we need to save this, go restart the server, and then hit the play button. And I think we'll get the IDs synchronized. We might have, but that's only done in init, and there's no init that's called afterward. So what we could do, I suppose, is this is a stupid waste of time, but let's try that. This is also potentially a bad idea. Hey, nice, that worked. Okay, so this is dumb. What's happening is we're relying on the multiplayer spawner in game to pass the players around. And so we're just not saying to synchronize the ID label. So basically we get that there is a player, but we don't initialize it. And we would need some way of doing that. Oh, there's no real game in mind, I guess. It's all, if you look at the today command, I'm just running through tasks that are here in as part of prototyping this. So the goal is just make a platform where people can connect to. And we're adding in the control for your own player here. And yeah, this is not going the best right now. So we got this to synchronize at the very least. I don't like this at all. I wonder how you are supposed to control. There's got to be some. Let's look at multiplayer spawner. There's got to be a signal you can connect to that when this thing spawns, you can call something. There's spawn function here. What is that? Method called on all peers when for every custom spawn requested by the authority will receive data. Oh, I'd love to see an example of this. Yeah, I'd love to see an example of this. Spawn function. Is this something we set in the spawner? I don't see it. Is there a... There's spawned here. Maybe we can take a look at that. Emitted when a spawnable scene was spawned by the authority. Only called on puppets. Wow. We're all puppets. Okay, I guess let's connect this and see what happens. So on multiplayer spawner spawned, we get in a node. What is node? Node is probably a node 2D. No, it's just a node. Yeah. Oh, man. This isn't going to have what we want then, right? Yeah, I do try to keep today updated. You also don't necessarily need to use the command if you don't want. There's a site that I have, just a.bot.land, with all of the different commands that exist. And you can search through all of them here, but yeah, today I try to keep updated. All right, so the spawn function, I don't know what this is. This spawn emitted when a spawnable scene or custom scene was spawned by a multiplayer authority. And then there's a property of spawn function. Where is that? Can we do multiplayer spawner dot spawn function? It doesn't know what this is, so this doesn't. Nah, it doesn't know what this is. Well, we need a breakpoint here. We need to see what node actually has in it. Although I suspect it's going to be the superficial values of the node. So position, velocity, and not the ID that I had set. Oh, man. Let's get rid of this. And let's go try this out. Yeah. I don't even know how we're going to set a breakpoint here. Could not find player in the current scope. Where is it still trying to do this? Oh, here? How did this happen? How did this happen? All this should have been removed. Oh no. Oh my God. When I connected that signal from inside the editor, it used its local version, which was like way out of date, and it overwrote all my code. Oh my God. This is, I gotta Command Z everything. I think that should put us back into good shape here. So now there's a really stupid way of setting the breakpoint. It's not easy. You can't easily load the script, so you need Godot to load it. The only way I could find to do this is have an error in the script, have it stop on that error. Okay, so maybe we could do like 1 divided by 0 here. Maybe we could do var I'm trying to come up with a tricky thing here. Let's do this. Node.position equals new vector 0, 0. And then 1 divided by node.position.x. And just print that out. So this is an error, but it doesn't know that it's an error, even though we know it's an error. I don't even know it's the kind of error that's going to cause Godot to open it up. But whatever, let's go try it. This is so stupid. All right, we hit this button. It got errors, but not the one I wanted. I guess we could try calling something with the wrong number of parameters, like add player with 1, 2, 3. Except for it'll know that it's wrong. It shouldn't even let me build this, right? I'm trying to work around. Do they use those signals in their multiplayer example? I don't think so. Where's that demo thing that we had? Oh, I gotta take another break. Yeah, let's see. What's it called? On multiplayer? No, they don't. Yeah, I don't think they use any signals for this stuff. I think the only thing they connect to is the like player connected and stuff. Yeah. But that's a good question. What do they do here? Spawning players. They have a multiplayer authority though. When did they set this? Oh, here it is. And this is the player script. And we call set on the ID, and that's what tells it what authority it is. But they don't have things like the ID. Okay, so there are two things that are kind of a problem here, and I need to figure this out. So I need to set the authority, but then I also need to figure out how to initialize the player with its ID label. I don't know how you're supposed to do this. So I wanted to set a breakpoint in this function, but I can't easily do that without stopping using VS Code. I should just stop to use it then. All right, cool. Well, whatever. We'll figure that out after the break. So I'm going to go take a break. For those who are in YouTube chat, you can go to Twitch chat and you can play through there. Is it jump time? Is it going to work? All right, break, break, break. It's jump time. How is the lag compared to when I was using Restream? Does it seem like it's better? Or the latency, not the lag, I guess. Much better? Okay, yeah. Real time. All right, nice. I'm glad to hear it. You know what I just realized? I could have YouTube chat open on my phone, and then I have one less window to control. Although then I guess I need to respond on my phone. Anyway. Close the game. So initializing the player, this is where I think we're just going to stop using the external editor for a bit. I don't like this. I just really don't like this idea. The whole point is that you should be able to use an external editor. Actually, did people already ask about this? Godot, VS Code, set breakpoint? Because if I could just do it through VS Code, then I'd be totally happy. Oh, enable for debugging with breakpoints. Oh, this whole tasks thing, didn't I? Oh, right, we did this for C#. Oh, I forgot all about this. Oh, man. Oh, also, I'm like freezing right now for some reason. I just turned up the heat a little bit. Roll down my sleeves. Okay, I wrote notes somewhere. Let's go figure out how I did this. So C# in Godot. Tasks.json, build, debug. So instead of debugging, follow these instructions. Oh boy. Is this specifically for C# though? It is, because it needs a different Godot binary. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm gonna groan about this a lot because this is gonna be tedious. Also, they don't have a Mac OS one here. Interesting. All right. Well, I think we need to do this. This is just for regular Godot, right? Yeah. VS Code, file open folder, configure task, create tasks.json, select others. If there's no such option, either delete the file if it exists. Okay, sure. Within tasks, find the tasks array, add a new section to it. Okay. This isn't going to know about my Godot binary though, right? See, introduction to build system. Yeah, why not? Thanks for resubbing. Oh, easy to set up. Easy to set up. I like those words. Debugger is for GDScript projects. To debug C#, use C# tools for Godot. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know this existed, did I? No, wait, I am using this. But I don't think this allowed for easy debugging. It says it does. Okay, I'll write this down in the future for the C# thing. So set up debugging, follow these instructions. Note, date. Perhaps this whole process is simplified with a plugin, with this plugin. I might be able to press F5 and have it automatically make one. This would, oh man, I'm so glad I searched this instead of just working around it. Yeesh. All right, so debugger is for GDScript projects. To configure it, open the command palette, show run and debug, click on create a launch JSON file, select debug Godot, change any relevant settings, press F5. Okay. So open command palette, show run and debug. Click on create a launch JSON file. Select debug Godot configuration. Probably this one. And then that's it, we're done. And then I can set a breakpoint here and then press F5. Oh, whoops. Wait. That's a syntax error. Let's set a breakpoint here and then press F5. Oh, we got to stop it first. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Blub. Whew, that was super easy. Okay, so then we got to go modify Godot engine, these notes that talk about breakpoints, to debug GD script, follow these instructions. To debug C#, look at my C# notes for Godot. This should really be this note, and I think we do something like that. Does that work? Yes. Can we click that? Yes. Okay. Do not, I guess if you're using an external editor, but trying to run through Godot itself, then the breakpoints that you set in the external editor won't work without running, well, yeah. Also, Godot itself doesn't seem to get your updated script all that often. So the scripts it does show may be out of date. All right, so now for the real question, what is inside Node? Do we have an ID in here somehow? We have a multiplayer authority, that's interesting. We have an ID. It has its script associated with it. It got a position as well. That means it is replicated with position, but then why wasn't that set? No, maybe that's the synchronizer doing it? I don't actually know. Yeah, I don't see ID in here or anything. And I think what I wrote about the multiplayer synchronizer is wrong. Or spawner. Spawners only replicate that nodes exist. It won't replicate properties like their position. I don't think this is true, but I can't prove it. I guess we could try to just not synchronize any of this stuff. And just hit the play button. That suggests that it synchronized the position. I don't know. I guess it depends on when you synchronize it. That's probably the case. Like I set the position here, but if I'd set the position here, then I'm guessing it wouldn't have synchronized it. So now they'll be at random positions on this screen. Are they random ones? No, they're not at random ones. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, well, whatever. Let's set this back to what it was to actually synchronize these things. And I guess I'll just delete this note. Spawners only replicate the node's creation. It won't continually update the nodes. Yeah. That you want to multiply. Wait a second. How did it even... No, that makes sense. Never mind. A3D extended. Okay, so node does not contain ID. Which is a little bit bizarre because then... Let me try this again. I know this probably seems like I'm going crazy here. I want to try this one more time. Can I type in here node.id? It does get the ID. It just didn't show up in that in this, or did I miss it? I'm so confused. Wait, it was right there. Members/ID. Oh, that's why I didn't see it. I was looking for ID at the left side. Members/ID. It also got gravity, and gravity is an integer, not a float. Okay. Spawners replicate nodes creation. All properties of a node seem to be replicated, even ones that you add. E.g., if you have an ID property set, it'll show in the debugger like this. Hang on a second. Crop this a little bit better. Okay. Is the backend using Godot as well? Yeah, it's using Godot as well. Also, welcome to the stream. Okay, interesting. So this confirms that we got the ID. So here's what I think we have to do. I think we have to call init on this with its ID that we were passed in. And I think this will work. And then we stop our synchronizer from synchronizing this thing. So I just delete this. Oops, it's not that one. I delete this one and set this to always. Okay, now we restart the server and we go try running this. No, they're set to -1. What? That's... Let me just print this out. Setting node ID to... Should just know what I want. Yeah, there we go. I'm guessing something's going wrong there. Setting node ID to -1. What? What was the point of debugging this? I typed in node.id, right? Node.id. Yeah, and it's set. Okay, so then let's go into this thing. ID equals new ID. New ID is -1. How's that possible? How is that possible? Node.id is -1. Wait, weird. Okay, so typing node.id here. Well, now it says I can't find it because I'm in a different frame. But if I pop out of that thing, now it's not going to work at all. Okay, great. Well, whatever. Let's try that again. So I type node.id, it has it. But then when I try printing it from code, it doesn't work. Is it because I have to type node.members? Members/ID? Is there any way that we can do this? I'm not sure. How do you get member variables in here then? It's clearly here. Oh wait, it's up -1. Wait, now I'm confused. Okay, now I'm beginning to think that nodes just have an ID by default, and I'm doing something weird here. Godot node. Yeah, that would potentially make sense. Is there an ID? Well, if there is, I don't see it here. Hey, vibing guy. Okay, maybe, well, let's search for set ID. Maybe that would exist. No. Do nodes not have an, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be node that has it. It could be anything in, well, it could just be node 2D because node 2D inherits from node, right? Inherited by, what does it inherit from? And does it even have an ID? Doesn't look like it. I'm quite confused. Is it perhaps a sign issue? I don't think it's a sign issue. It's like, okay, what could possibly, let's clear this. Can I clear this? Clear console. Okay. Oh, well, now I guess I deleted the output too. All right, let's just stop this whole thing and let's run this again. So what could possibly explain this? It says setting node ID to -1, and I type node ID and it's not -1. How is that even possible? And the only thing I can think of is that something changed to node ID between this line and this line. And we do have a multiplayer synchronizer, and it's possible that they're multi-threaded and that happened, but I kind of doubt it. And either way, how would it be getting set to 1? So I don't have an explanation for this. And even here it's -1. Maybe that is what's happening. No, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. No, ID must not refer to this ID. That's it. That's how this has to be. Somewhere else in here we should see an ID, right? This is not the easiest thing to search through, apparently. Just copy paste everything. I'm not seeing it at all. It's so weird. Large number is actually -1. But Godot can represent this large number. Yeah. I just don't think that's the case. Like if I say a equals this, can it? Okay, can't do that. But if I do this plus 1, okay, well this is not how I'd expect this to work. It's the idea that's generated because of naming convention, I think. Can't have duplicate node names, maybe. I'm not positive, but this should actually have a name, and the name should be the same as the maybe node. What am I thinking of here? Should exist in the scene tree. So maybe we say node.getParent. Can I find get parent? I don't know what you call this. Maybe node.parent. And maybe that's not it at all. Maybe get tree. Maybe we just do our get tree. Something's funky about this. Can we get anything through this? Self is a node 2D. Okay, then we can access this, I guess, get tree. Oh my God. I don't have any ideas for what's going on here. Oh, wait a sec. What's that? Oh, no. Those are different IDs. Node ID is not equal to member's ID. Take a look at the object address that matches node ID. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. This to me seems to imply that the ID that we've initialized isn't actually working here, though. Oh, let me give you a point for that, by the way. Yeah, node.name doesn't work. Because, yeah, I do set this up here. So wait, this is not then replicating any custom property. No. That's not true. It's giving me the custom property. It's just not set how I expect it to be up here. Okay, let me read this again. On multiplayer spawner spawned. What's going on here? Emitted when a spawnable scene or custom spawn was spawned by multiplayer authority. I want to figure out this thing, spawn function. I can apparently set a spawn function with a callable. Method called on all peers for every custom spawn requested by the authority. I wonder if it's called on the authority as well. Probably not. We receive data and should return a node that is not in the scene tree. Oh, I see. This will give me everything and then I can form it myself. I think that's probably what I'd want to do here. Return node should not be added to the scene with node add child. This is done automatically. Yeah, so I just return a node out of this thing. Okay. Let's try that because that's at least something that I guess kind of makes sense here. Although I still find this very bizarre and I'm not totally sure what's going on. So all properties of a node seem to be replicated. Wait, and here we had the I'm so confused. I'm so confused. The member ID here is -1. Somehow we got into this code when it wasn't -1. Why is it being called like a million times? Were any of those? No, they weren't. Let me restart the server. Maybe something weird is happening. Why is this called 3 times? Oh, because I have 3 other clients open. Stop those. And I'm going to find out that I'm doing something really stupid. Setting to -1. This is going to have the same, like... Okay. If this still didn't work, then just forget this, I guess. All right, well, and ready, let's do this then. Let's get the spawner and set its spawn function. What's this called? No, it's just spawn function. Equals... No, there's a set spawn function. And we give it a callable. How do we pass callables around? Because the way this used to work was we make a new callable out of... Okay, so we do this. Yeah, that is new. Test spawn, I guess, is what we're going to call this. Func test spawn. This gets data, and it needs to return a node. I don't know what data has in it, but it's got to look something sort of like this, I suppose. So we got to figure out how to get the stuff in data there. We'll set the ID to 55 for now. Or let's just get the ID, var ID equals 55. We do all this stuff. We add it to here. We don't need to add it anywhere though. And then we set the position. All right, whatever. Data has no static type. I don't know what its type is supposed to be. Set spawn function. It doesn't tell me anywhere here. Will receive data parameter. What is data? I don't know. We'd probably have to go look through the Godot code for that. Spawn function. Callable, we set it. The bindings here, check if it's valid. Then call it with argv1retce. What is that? argv equals pdata. What is pdata though? It's just a variant. Oh no. All right, so it's probably going to be a dictionary then when it makes it to the GD script side of things, and it's just going to contain, I don't know, arbitrary nonsense. It's so ridiculous. All right, so now we set a breakpoint here. And then we press F5. I guess I get rid of that. And all right, that's strange. That's very strange. It didn't call test spawn. If I hit play, does it call it? No. I'm not familiar with that Hindi word, but I will trust you on that. My Hindi is very limited. I don't think this worked. Multiplayer spawner set spawn function call test spawn. And then I have a breakpoint here, and it looks like this isn't doing anything. I just want to inspect what's inside data. Maybe it's because we have this here. If I just delete this, does this work any differently? Nope. What is this then? This is called on peers. And add player is never called on peers, maybe. Maybe that's why. Because all we do is we call add player on the authority, and then that knows how to, okay, I think that's the problem. But let's read the documentation and see if that's really what's going on. Method called on all peers for every custom spawn. Maybe it's because it's custom spawn and I don't have custom spawns right now. I think that's the problem. Okay, then here's how we fix that. This is messed up. We go into the spawner and we just delete the element we have here. Delete it. There. And now every spawn is a custom spawn, right? Well, that didn't work. Maybe there's some other property I need to set that I'm not aware of. No, I don't think so. I don't know. Okay, so here's where we stand. I cannot figure out what's supposed to actually call this thing. There's nothing seen to. It says for custom spawns. Supports custom spawn through spawn. Oh, I have to call the spawn function myself. Interesting. Okay, and then I pass in the data myself. Oh my god. Okay, their documentation should definitely say this. Like in, where is it? Set spawn function will receive data parameter. It should just say we'll receive it from the spawn function, and then you'd be like, oh, I click that and there's data. Yeah. All right. I think I fully understand this. I think we can go do this. Here's how we do it. We get rid of this again. We save this. We call spawn here. Now, how does spawn work? Request a custom spawn, turns locally spawned node instance already inside the scene tree, and add it as a child of the node pointed by spawn path. Data passed to spawn function on all peers. Okay. So we do the spawner.spawn, and we pass in data, which is just a variant. In our case, we need the ID, and that's it. Oh, and the position. Bar position equals this. This is probably shadowing a variable. Maybe no. No, it should be because it's a node 2D. Although this should just be a node. I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah, shadowed variable. We'll just say player position here, I guess. That did not work. Player position. Why not using Vim? Because then people would ask me why I'm not using Emacs. The serious answer is in this command. Okay, so we call the spawn function. We don't need to add the player anymore because this is just going to be called on everything and it just needs to return a node. The data that we get is a variant that's actually going to be a dictionary, I guess. And then we need to get its ID from that dictionary, and we need to get the position. Position equals data.player position. Except for it's not called that, it's just called position. Yeah. All right, then when we initialize the ID, and we initialize here with the player position. And that's it. I think that should all work, right? Cannot infer the type, because it doesn't have a set type. Oh, all right. Well, the position is supposed to be a vector 2, I guess, and the ID is supposed to be an int. Oh man, does this actually work? I feel like it should. I don't have an IDE command, but let me make it right now. Yeah. There you go. By the way, all the commands you can just look through here. They're just on a website. So you could just type VS Code if you want, or Vim, or whatever else you want to know about. try to make as many commands as I can so that people can find that information. I'm not saying you should have known how to find that information. That's why I'm telling you about it now. All right, so now we just run this and it should all work. I do not see a player in here. But let's see what happened. Oh, spawn never got hit. How did it never get hit? Also, I wonder how we debug the server. Yeah, I agree. By the way, I do have like 2 rules in this chat, and one of them is please don't segment messages. So these, for example, could have just been on one line. That's the one thing I'm a stickler about. All right, so spawn's not being called, but we are calling it explicitly here. And it does say, oh no, it says spawn must return a node. Must return a valid node. What's going wrong then? How is it not returning a node? Maybe because this callable is incorrect somehow? What's the other rule? MPV. No personal information. That's pretty much it. I guess what I mean is no sharing of other people's personal information. You can share whatever you want about yourself. That's up to you. Oh, can I have points in, please? No, you can't. What could I be doing wrong here? It says, oh wait, maybe this. Invalid get index ID on base dictionary. Invalid index. I'm making this. Is this maybe not how you access things on a dictionary? Because I don't fully recall, actually. Or do they have to be string parameters? How did we ever get the name out of here? I don't know. RG name. Current player.name. Spawn.name. Spawn.name. Do we use a custom spawn function here? No, we don't. What am I doing? I wanted to get this from a different place. I think it was this, multiplayer from scratch. How is this not showing up anywhere? Do I need quotes around this? Yes, I do. Okay, so now do we have player info somewhere? Yes. And where do I access this thing? Apparently never. Nowhere. Huh. Yeah. Which language is it? It's GD script. Okay, puppy, I'm gonna warn you once more, and then I'm gonna either purge or ban you. Please don't segment messages. Like I said, just if you've got 2 messages like this, either just don't send the second one or just send them all as one message. I try to welcome people in the stream, but like I said, it's the one rule I'm a stickler about. I guess technically both rules I'm a stickler about. The no personal information thing is pretty important too. Okay, let's just look this up then. GD script dictionary. I think they've got an example on their page. I don't know if, so in Python, I think you have to have string keys. I don't know if you have to for this. Comma separated list of key value pairs. Unique keys. Okay, I think we've just got to make them strings in this case. All right, let's go do that then. And yeah, thank you, Cheer Puppy. I appreciate it. All right, so where I was setting ID and position, I should be doing like this and this. And then I guess making them strings over here too. So both of those should have strings around them. All right, let's try that now. Title server. Godot server. Okay, here goes nothing. Okay, we got somehow 3 players. I might have 3 clients open and just not realize it. There were 2 of them. And there's the 3rd one, yeah. Okay, well, now if I try to connect, it's going to still have those same 3 players. That's weird, though. It seemed to add 2 in here. Although now it is spawning them correctly. Oh, wait. Oh, it has 2 because I spawned 2 of these. Oh, now I get why there were 3. Every time I hit play, it's making 2 of these because I have run multiple instances up to 2. Okay. Look at what happened. we got the IDs in here because we used the custom spawn function. So that explains everything. But now the question is, do I like this paradigm of doing things? So spawn versus auto spawn. And I feel like the documentation is a little bit lacking here because we didn't get the ID when we used the regular spawn way, right? With what's it called? This add spawnable scene thing. It says can be configured through editor or code. Uses object configuration add to notify spawns, passing the spawn node as the object and itself as the configuration. Object configuration add, what is that? New configuration with a given object. This method is used internally by scene tree to configure the root path. Further used by multiplayer API implementation to provide additional features. I don't need an extension for this, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose the problem that I had here is whatever signal this had out of it, which I don't even see anymore. I guess we only saw it through the editor. This spawned signal that we have. Yeah, this gave us a node and presumably nothing else. Huh. Yeah, well, okay, so here's the sort of general question. What is going on here? General question. Suppose I have a player, or not even a player. Yeah, just suppose I have a player with a custom property. Age, sure, whatever. I have age. How do I send this to all peers at construction time? And so what I would have thought, there are 2 ways. There's an auto spawner and then there's manual spawning. So we know that this works. I just did it. But then auto spawner, I don't think it sent the custom properties. The ID appeared to be -1. Now, a question I do have, is this still being called? If I just restart everything, yeah. If I restart this and then I press F5 over here, spawn gets called and then on spawner spawn gets called. And now the node adding player %s to the scene. Where's the terminal? Here it is. It doesn't say adding player to the scene. But I know this ran. Maybe, no, that's strange. I didn't print this out. Let me rerun this. First we get here. We get down to this print. What? Why did that not print anywhere? What? It could have been buffered and maybe it needs to be flushed. I wonder if there's a way to do that. I wonder if I wrote about this somewhere. I don't know where I would have written about it. Flush. Not there. And GD script. No, yeah, weird. Where would that output be going then? Terminal? No. It's bizarre. It's saying these other things here. These are just prints. I'm calling player init twice. Is that a concern? I think I'm calling player init. Oh yeah, maybe I'm calling it even on the server twice. Let me take a look. Adding player to scene. Did that get called twice? It looks like it is. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a concern. How do I structure my notes? They're all available there. And I guess there are kind of two ways I can answer this question. One is by just saying, here's how, look at my notes. The other way is by, I guess, kind of maybe telling you what goes through my head as I do this stuff. And generally what I'm trying to think is like, what's information that I might want again in the future? And then I try to add that. And I don't think there's much more to it than that. I think then some experience and heuristics guide me toward what I think might be important. I don't think it's a major concern, but thanks for pointing it out, Dottie. I do appreciate that. I think all we need to do here is wait a second. Add players. What's returning this? I guess spawn. Oh man, there's a bunch of stuff that I need to think about for this. We could return the result of spawn. Okay, that'll work. And then we don't do the init here. We don't set the name here. We don't even do this. And we don't do this. All right, I think this is better code. I still don't know why that print wasn't printing out, but let's try this now. What's happening? Oh, was this already running? What is happening? Nope, there it goes. Okay, yeah. So now we're in test spawn, and I go over to here, we get the node, and now there's our new thing, and it prints out. Yep. All right, I definitely want to document how this works, because this is neat, and it works, but I don't know if it's the best way of doing this. And maybe it doesn't really matter, because it's, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to use it this way from now on, and we're just going to write this down. Multiplayer in Godot. So, multiplayer spawner. I wrote this, and I don't even think this is correct. All property of the node seem to be replicated. Even ones that you add. Even properties that you add, I guess. If you have an ID property, it'll show in the debugger like this. I don't think this is correct. I don't know how we ever saw this. Like, clearly, I have a screenshot, so we know it happened. But I don't know how it happened. And I think it was the synchronizer that was doing this. So maybe the synchronizer sort of gets to modify your object before the spawner is finished. It's all I can think of. And I need to go back and test this stuff. So I did some basic testing, and it seems like there's a way to get custom properties to be replicated so that you, yeah. But I don't know how exactly it happened. Maybe it was from having a multiplayer synchronizer. Yeah, e.g. I had a custom ID property that, yeah, whatever. Anyway, I think the real thing I should write though is kind of manually spawning and why you would do this. Manually spawning nodes. So suppose if you just have a scene that doesn't need to be initialized, e.g. imagine a balloon scene or something for a celebration. This is like the dumbest way of saying this. I don't know, a confetti scene for a victory screen. Then you can rely on, what do they call it? Auto spawning? Oops, I just closed Twitch chat. And we're back. Okay, yeah. You can rely on, what do they call it? Spawnable scenes, add spawnable scenes. Team path being automatically replicated for multiplayer authority, yeah. And you can rely on the, it's better to show it over here. Auto spawn list. which is accessed in code via add spawnable scene. Okay. However, if you need to initialize a scene yourself, e.g. to give a player a, I don't know, e.g. to set a label, name label on a player, then you may want to consider manually spawning nodes. It's pretty easy. And then we just include the code. So let's copy paste. Let's just copy paste everything. Let's stop this. Let's close these extra windows. Let's make this look like GD script. And then, yeah, so we get rid of this. Here's test spawn. We take in data as a dictionary. We get the ID and the position. We make this. Set a name. That part doesn't really matter. Well, I guess it does matter. Set a position, return the player. Okay. Then in spawn player or add player is just really set up that dictionary. All right, there's our code. Make it look like Python just because it's close enough. This is tell our spawner what our custom spawn function is. Then this would be called on the server. Its job is just to set up data, which is a variant type that we happened to make into a dictionary here. Yeah, so we make a position and we pass in the ID as well. Okay, now this is called on the server and on the clients. It just needs to return a node, and Godot will handle adding it to this scene. We get data from our call to spawn below and use that to create and initialize a player. Wow. Well, I'm learning a lot. That is for sure something. So I guess we've kind of just done it, right? Like now if I connect with multiple different clients, it should work. Do I have one running? What is this? Oh, that's a server. Okay, yeah, so if I start two of these, they get replicated to each other and they have the IDs. Yeah. And there are also 5 errors. Register player method expects 1 argument called with 2. Register player. RPC is called with ID and then form player info. Where's register player? Here, it's just new player info. I guess new player info should have the ID in it. It doesn't, but it could. So I guess let's add it in. ID isn't, oh wait, no, I wouldn't need that. What am I talking about? Because it's going to be the key of this. Register new player ID. Get remote sender. This is always going to be the server though. Oh my God. Whatever, let's just pass in their ID. So now we don't need this. I guess let's just name it the same thing so I don't need to change anything else. Player instance has no static type. It's a node. What is this going to do? I don't know. I got to still worry about the multiplayer authority stuff. close out of this and reconnect. All right, now we don't have any errors. We also can't, whoa, what? We can? Look at that. They jitter. Yeah, I gotta stop that from happening. Only if you're the authority should you be able to call that. Okay, well, I'm already a little over time, but let's see if we can at least close the loop on this. So when you get a player added, it gets replicated to you with the ID. If you are the ID, if you're the owner of that player, then we should do set multiplayer authority. Except for you set the authority on the spawner, don't you? I think you set it on the spawner. There's a set here somewhere, right? Too many different programs open. Code, Godot, basics, set. There it is. Multiplayer synchronizer. It's the synchronizer that needs the authority set. Okay, so then we need to get that from here too. What is it called? Probably just multiplayer synchronizer. Yes. All right. So we set that here. And this takes in what, true or false? Oh, wait, recursive. Oh. We could just set it on the player then. And just set, is it already recursive by default? It is. Oh, then we don't even need to do that. All right, so then the ID, how do we do this? We just do that, and we're done. In fact, this could all be done inside of an init. There. Now, only if you're the authority should this be done, physics process. And I have some code for that, this. Is there like is authority? There isn't. How did I do this? Yeah, 36 keys. I like it a lot. I just did a video on it last week, I think, in the keyboard command. There's just get multiplayer authority. If that's our unique ID, then that's what we do, I guess. And we don't need to do it this way because we set it on the entire player. So we do this. And we know the multiplayer authority is just the ID. So we can just do, if it's our ID, then we have a physics process. Okay, I think we're good. I hope this works. 42 is enough. Yeah. And I think there's a sweet spot for everybody. I mean, some people want 100 keys on their keyboard. And like, great, that's fine. And some people can get by with probably 8. And great for them. I think that probably most people would benefit by having a slightly smaller keyboard, something with like, 65 keys and having some layers in that. The layers of the 8. Well, what I'm thinking of is there's a keyboard called the Artsy. And it's literally just 8 keys. And you type by using a bunch of combos. So here's how you type everything. Although I don't think you can type, yeah, you can't type everything, I guess. There are no numbers. There's no like programming on this. But yeah, imagine doing this. And I think what would be kind of cool is there's another kind of keyboard that's just laid out in a straight line so that your fingers are always where they need to be. And it's just a matter of pressing the right ones. Only takes a year and a half to learn. Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to try it at some point. For those who've never seen this blast from the past, check out this video, which was the craziest typing I've done so far. Power VS Code sidebar icons on the top. A lot of people ask about this. I should really just record a really quick video, but you just right click up here, go down to activity bar position and choose between top and side. And that's it. was I doing? Oh, trying to figure out why this thing broke. Yeah, get unique ID on a null value. How's that possible? Oh, because multiplayer is not set? Because this comes from a different scene entirely? Did I close this already? The synchronizer. Where's multiplayer in here? It's there. What? How is this accessible here? Was this an auto load? And even if it's an auto load, how's that? That's not possible. Hold on. Something's. You call get unique ID on a null value. Yeah, weird. I don't know why that's a problem. Huh. I guess multiplayer was never set on this thing. Oh, maybe that's why. Okay, well, I need to go figure out how to fix that then.
Whoops.
RG multiplayer. This is never done. What? What? I'm so confused. I don't know how this is supposed to get a multiplayer. I thought it was just some globally accessible thing. But it's saying it's undefined. This has triggered the notification. I guess you get very accustomed to what the recorded sound is. Is Unreal Engine good for game dev? Yeah, definitely. I think Unreal does some very impressive stuff. Can only imagine what it's like to relearn all of these same principles over in a different engine. Should be easier the second time around. Yeah, I can't figure out why this is a problem. It's saying that this is null. I guess let's just debug it here. It's just going to say it's null here too, but I don't know, maybe I'll get some more information. All right, so get rid of this. I don't care about that. Then multiplayer. Oh, you know why this isn't in the scene tree yet? Oh my God. Oh, what a realization that was. I guess debugging somehow dislodged some useful nugget of truth from my brain. So init is called before ready. So we need to just make func ready. And then the ID won't exist. It's going to be get multiplayer authority. Okay, now I think we're good. Let's try this out. All right, so we should be able to move one of these. Oh my goodness. It's working. And we can't move past another person yet. And then this one should be able to move the other one. Yeah. Now you can see that it's jittery. So this right now, the one on the right, is the one that I'm controlling. The one on the left is what's getting replicated to. And you can see it's a little bit jittery over here. I don't know if that's super clear through the stream, but it's very clear for me. Like this one's super smooth. This one is not super smooth. So that's where we want to do something in the afternoon. We're going to start interpolating between this stuff. We're also going to probably make a jump. Oh, I should already have a jump. Yeah, I do. Oh, I just can't jump high enough to jump over somebody else. Well, we'll fix that right now because that's super easy to fix. Jump velocity negative 1200. There. Problem solved. Magic numbers. Why are those floating in the air? Whoosh, that is way too high. Yeah, way too high. I just want you to be able to jump over somebody. Yeah. Probably make that a little lower. I'm not going to keep tweaking this right now, though. And you can't jump with someone else on top of you. That's what we've learned from our other game experiences. Yeah. Wow. Longest amount of time as one on top wins. I mean, if you get on top of everybody else, then you can't ever lose because they won't be able to jump, right? Can I move out from under them? Oh, no, you can. Interesting, too. They're like sliding them. Oh, not when you hit jump after that. Then it just ceases to work. I think the reason why that works is because I had jumped on this character. That's peculiar. Wonder if you ever can lose them. But as soon as I hit jump again, this character just freezes for good. Yeah, very weird. Oh, interesting, because they're stuck in the jump phase and they can't realize that they're... Oh, interesting. So, I think this is good progress, but I still see there's a long path to getting the other just kind of basics of a multiplayer game working. I think once you have all those basics, once you can figure out like how do you make movement look smooth, how do you accommodate any physics that are in the game, I think then you can just start making your game. Excuse me. Well, that is what I wanted to learn out of this stuff. And I have learned quite a lot. All right, I got to take a lunch break. Yeah, I'd say this was a pretty productive stream, productive day. So, figure this out. I did this. So, afternoon is going to be get movement to look good and test it with chat. Oh, nice, Atomic Man. Are you putting on Steam or something? Actually, I should just get going. So, yeah, I think I'll just link in Discord. Open room, hey, check out the keyboard command that I have, which I guess has a video in it. I'll just link you the video. Oh, just learning as a hobby. I see. Yeah, it's still awesome. All right, I'm gonna get going. I will see you all in about maybe an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes, something like that. And then I'll stream for another maybe 2 to 3 hours and we'll just see how far we get. So thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.